Hey guys, just doing some work on the paranormal stuff on my channel. I'm going back through the old videos because I had an idea. What I want to do is go through the Unfinished Tale of Murder series, okay, that we've done. And I want to just put all of the replies that we've gotten in 20 videos. I think there's 15 or 16 videos that we did in the main series, and then we did 6 videos where we reversed the replies and we got more replies. Okay, so I want to take all of the replies, including the first 2 videos that Grant did, and I want to tell it to you guys, read it basically just like a story, and let's just see what it says if we take all those replies and do that. It's going to be a ton of work, but I want to do that. And as I was going through those videos, I found another video on the channel that I want to move over here to the Bigfooter channel, which is a cryptid tale by one of our South African viewers. DB sent me a story called The Peaker. Okay, so, and I thought it was a great story. On the original channel, it got 15,000 views. You guys did enjoy it, so I want to put it here because that was from a few years ago. We've had a ton more people subscribe since then, and it's just something that you guys can actually check out, and it belongs on this channel with all the other cryptid stuff we do. So for now, enjoy this video, which is moved over, and look forward to the Unfinished Tale of Murder, which is going to be presented in some kind of story format. I just want to see what those replies sound like if we just read them all in a row. You guys, it blows my mind the stuff we get, and it tells a story, and that video is going to be interesting too, so stay tuned. Hey guys, Gary from Unfrequented World, and tonight I received an email which was a cool, creepy cryptid story from one of our viewers, and he took the time to write all this up for me, so I've decided I am going to share it on the channel. I got back to this person who wants to remain anonymous. We'll refer to him as DB. And he sent me a bunch of photos that go along with the story of the house where they grew up and the town where they grew up. So as I read this encounter to you guys, I'll put his photos in the background and we'll caption them. And you can see actual photos that this person sent me. So enjoy the story. This is a cool one. Hi, I've been watching your videos for a bit lately, just binge watching the My Bigfoot Story series while I work. When I reached episode 21, literally 20 minutes ago, I decided that I should share this story with someone as I haven't in years. I'm going to start off with a disclaimer. I'm not looking for attention. If anything, I would appreciate it if that somehow this makes it into a video. I would greatly appreciate it if my name and email address are not disclosed. Please, I am not lying about anything of which I am stating in this email. My main purpose is to have my story heard in case I die or something, because it really is remarkable, but also terrifying. Please note that I am 20 years old and that I am not that good at telling stories, but I am trying my best. Anyways, I grew up in South Africa. I'm not sure if you've been there before, but I don't think I know a single person from South Africa who hasn't had a ghost encounter or anything in their life. As a matter of fact, my parents each have multiple encounters from when they were younger as well as when they were older. When I was 11 years old, we moved into a nature reserve off the coast of Cape Town, South Africa. We moved into a little bungalow with a thatched roof. This house was so poorly made that literal bats would climb in through the cracks in our walls and fly around inside the house. We weren't big fans of this, so my parents decided that we were going to move again. Instead, they decided to build a house on a plot of land right next door. I can send you images if you email me back. The images that you guys are actually watching in this video right now are the images that DB sent to me, okay? Fast forward to 2013. I was 13 years old. The first stage of the house was built and we had moved in. We had a garage with nothing above it, which was supposed to have a metal roof plopped on top of it, which would then make my brother's room above the garage into a livable place. We used to sit on top of the bare garage and just look in the night sky. With little plastic chairs we brought up, we would see all sorts of moving lights in the sky, which we always dismissed as satellites, but sometimes they'd just stop and change direction entirely. We didn't know what to think of it, but we just kind of ignored it. A few weeks before the roof was completed, we found a pile of scat on top of the garage. It was like a big amount, and it seemed like it came from a large dog or something. But how on earth Would a dog get up there? We dismissed it, swept it into the bushes, and cleaned the concrete floor and continued on with our days. Well, fast forward a couple of months again. The roof was done. My brother had a room. However, to get to this room, you had to go through my room, which made my room essentially a hallway. Brilliant design, I know. We used to get mongoose. Yes, mongoose the animal, which would crawl up the walls and walk across and around the inside of the house from the garage. This was unbeknownst to me until that day that I was sitting in a wheelie chair minding my own business when I saw the dog out of the corner of my eye. I leaned over to pet my dog without really looking at it to see that the dog scurried away. I took a closer look to find it wasn't my dog. It was an effing mongoose. So this house has a history of animals randomly getting in, along with thousands of spiders, at the very least snakes. Yes, snakes. And one time a scorpion. Crickets. Don't get me started. How hard it is to sleep with a cricket hiding somewhere in your room. I was a Christian at the time, but oh my God. Did I murder at least 50 of those things? It was the only way. I'm still sorry to this day. One day my brother was visiting his friend who lived up the road. My mom was a bit worried about us going out at night, so she had a rule that we would always have to get home by sunset or before then. Mind you, we'd still hang out during the night, but she wanted us to stay safe, so we obeyed her wishes. My brother was coming home when he reached the driveway. Now we have quite a large plot of land, and it takes about 45 seconds to walk from the driveway to the opposite end of the plot. As he was walking by, he heard something rustling in the bushes. He ignored it and assumed it was one of our crazy friends, who he thought was going to pop up and try scaring us. We had really friendly neighbors, and it was common for someone to literally just waltz right into your house without warning. So it wasn't unusual for someone to try scaring you like this. As he walked on, he heard what was in the bushes moving alongside him. He started walking at a faster pace, and he heard it getting faster as well. He ended up in a full-on sprint. I remember how he described it to me. He told me that it was like, as he was running, he was kicking up sand, so it made a noise behind him and as the sand landed. But there was a whole second set of feet running behind him, because he was hearing the sand land 2 to 4 feet behind him. He burst into the house and slammed the door and quickly locked it. I was there inside the house at the time. My dad was even standing right at the front door. My brother sprinted up the stairs to look out his window or at my skylight, which looked right over at the front door, but whatever it was gone. This was the first ever known encounter of the Panther, or the Peeker, as my brother nicknamed it. I've lost a scale of time as to when these events occurred, but I do remember what happened and how they happened. My apologies if this gets muddled up. My brother claimed that sometimes at night he would wake up to see the Peeker watching him peeking over the couch with glowing eyes. He described it as a huge, tall, naked man with orange glowing eyes. He also told me that the eyes changed color. I think this went on for like 6 months or so, and I was 14 at the time. He was roughly 12. We told our parents about it, who obviously didn't believe us. They threatened to take our phones away because it was causing us to imagine things, so we pretty much were unable to tell them about it anymore. I didn't really believe my brother's claims, but I wanted to be a good older brother, so I always let him sleep on my spare mattress on the floor, or sometimes I'd sleep on it because he was closer to his bedroom door. I pretty much considered my brother to be a schizophrenic for a while. In South Africa, there's this thing called load shedding. It basically means that the power is cut off in stages for a few hours every day. It used to be seemingly completely random back in 2013 to 2015. Anyways, my brother and I were having a sleepover with our friend Luca. We were joking around in the room, just talking, when the power went out. We went and got some torches and sat on the couch and just chilled and spoke for an hour or so. That's when we heard the bathroom door, which was built into my brother's room right next to his lounge, which was just a couch with no walls, moving around next to us. The door was on a slider, which meant that it did occasionally bump around when there was wind, but it was moving as if something was leaning on it from the inside and just generally touching it. This freaked us out, so we went to the opposite corner of the room and sat on our beds as we had set them up earlier that day. As we were sitting there, our batteries died in all of the torches other than the big torch. My younger brother owned that torch and refused to use the batteries unless it was 100% necessary. We all got really scared and sat on the bed in the very corner. That's when the Peeker came out of the bathroom and started watching us from behind the couch. Note that I did not believe that this thing actually existed up until that point. As a child, I had anger issues. I would just get so fed up with something that I'd say F it and just do something carelessly just because I was so upset. So as we were sitting there for 3/4 of an hour being watched by this thing, I was so bothered by it, the fact that I couldn't go right past the door to the guest room and sleep there for the night, that I stole the torch from my brother, got up, stomped past the creature, which I watched scatter behind the cupboards in the room as I left with my blankets in my hand. This is still one of the bravest things that I've done in my life. A little bit of foreshadowing here, but we think that the creature is skittish. We did some research when I was older, and there are supposedly many sightings of cave creatures which are just like this creature we saw and lived with. This nature reserve by the beach that we lived in was known for its caves. We believe that it was living behind the crawl space accessible by the bathroom in my brother's room. The crawl space navigates behind my brother's bed, which has the walls built sideways, bricks with those little holes in them, which means that the creature was able to breathe on him, which it did when he was trying to sleep. Fast forward another year. We had another 2 or 3 encounters with the creature, but to be honest, I'm tired of typing already, so we'll just skip ahead to the last encounter we ever had with it. It was New Year's Eve of 2015, turning into 2016. As you know, the neighbors were really friendly and it was a great community. We had a tradition of everyone coming over to our place. The adults would stand by the braai, B-R-A-A-I. I'm not familiar with what that is. The older kids would hang out with my older brother, and I'd pretty much be the leader of some of the younger kids who'd follow me around all night. Our house was and still is located right next to a roundabout, or a street circle, whatever you want to call it. We were all running around having a good time playing with glow sticks. There were no street lights there and nobody wore shoes. It's just weird to wear shoes in the nature reserve. Still, we were having a good time. I was hanging around talking to some people when I spotted a kid I didn't recognize. I went up to him and introduced myself to learn that he, Kyle, was just there on vacation with his family. It kind of sucked, but it was nice to have a friend even for the night. So we started chatting and just started walking around the nature reserve in the dark, just walking in general. When we walked to the other end of the nature reserve and back twice, I remember as I was walking up, I saw this weird white thing in the bushes. I assumed that it was moonlight, so I ignored it. But I saw that when I was walking back from the first time, it looked like something was crouching in the bushes. Note that nobody really believed us in regards to this naked creature which was mortifying us all these years. But we told people anyways, and we really were open about it. I had grown to not be scared of the dark because of this, so I didn't really scare that easily. But I got scared really easily this time. I was in the middle of talking to Kyle when I saw it crouching in the bushes and immediately just sprinted away and told Kyle, just run. He caught up to me and asked me what I was on about. So I spent 10 minutes telling him the story of the panther/the peaker and that I thought it was crouching in the bushes. I wasn't so sure that he believed me, but I told him anyways. I went to the older kids who were hanging out in the road right near the circle and told them about what I saw. 6 of the older kids went with us and shone their lights, lighting up the whole area, and we went for a walk to see if we could find anything, but we couldn't see a thing. So they all gave up and left. I begged them to come back and try finding it, but no one listened. I gave up and went to talk to some of the younger kids, who were roughly my age, and told them about what me and Kyle had saw and what had just happened, and then everyone wanted to have a look. So I gathered some people, and right as we were going to start going up the road, I heard screaming behind me. I didn't see this myself because I assumed they were joking around and screaming about some nonsense, but Kyle, who I was chatting with and had convinced to come with me, saw what was happening behind me and yelled for me to turn around. The panther made an effing appearance. It literally stood crouched on the side of the road, staring at everyone. As one of the girls got closer to it, it stood right up, revealing to be like 6.5 feet tall. Literally everyone saw it. It was a good effing day for everybody to believe the story I'd been telling them for all those years. But some of those people don't want to talk about it or what they saw that night. I used to tell all my friends about these stories when I moved in 2016. That was our last New Year's Eve there. But I've decided to keep the stories to myself so I can get a job without worrying about an employer stumbling upon my old YouTube videos and this creature. Thank you for reading this. I'm telling you once again, I'm not lying about this. So as I've been working on this story, guys, DB contacted me again. I asked him if he had any images from his online research that he could share that would let you guys know what the creature looked like. And this was the response I got from DB. We used to think that this creature was called the rake. It was a few videos of it online at the time, but the main reason we didn't think that it was one of these is because it didn't have the long nails which encounters describe. I never got a photo of the creature myself. I literally would never have thought to do so when I was younger, as I didn't even really use my phone except for texting at the time, and computer was only for video games. The idea of taking a photo and putting it somewhere on the internet just wouldn't have been an idea that popped into my head at the time. My brother was really scared of anyone knowing about it during the early stages. I do remember taking some blurry pictures at night, but he made me delete the images. I think he said it was due to an invasion of privacy at the time or something. I'm not sure. It was years ago and we were just kids. When I wasn't sure if the creature was real or not, I remember telling my brother to WhatsApp me a red telephone if he was in an emergency situation relating to the peaker. I remember sneakily recording a video without him knowing about it while pretending to absently be holding my phone in my hand. I'm not sure when this was recorded, but I remember finding it in the files in 2016 and putting it at the start of this video link. So I will link this video that he sent me down below if you guys want to watch it, and I'll use some of the clips as I'm telling the story.
Okay, so if you can see, there's a pipe all the way down there. Okay, what it does is it was able to crawl up that pipe. Ooh, the screen is full of rain. It's able to climb all the way up that pipe, and that pipe leads to my brother's bathroom right behind that drywall which I showed you earlier. Although there is a hole in the wall where the pipes are, so like the toilet. Let me show you, like sort of the toilet stuff. These pipes over here, it leads right through. It used to be all the way open. That hole.
So there it is, guys. That's DB's story. If you're watching this, DB, share this with all of your friends, and maybe we can get somebody who was there that night to actually comment down below and tell us their version of what happened. That would be really cool. So thanks again for watching, everybody.